or maybe when you watch this, good afternoon or good evening. Today we're going to read our News-2-You article. This week's topic is going to be about, if we look at our vocabulary words, it's going to be about a family who helps wild animals during a time, especially during a time when there was a wildfire. Um, it's going to be the Irwin family. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of them. They're a pretty famous family from Australia. So we're going to be reading more about them and what they've been doing. But let's look at some of our vocab words and just to review them, because we will hear these words in the story. They may be in your worksheets. So let's get going. Our first vocabulary word is the word family. Family means a group of people related to each other. You guys all have families. We all know that our families are different. Some of you might have your mom and your dad that live with you, and you're an only child. Some of you have brothers and sisters. Some of you may only have one parent. Some of you guys may have live with your grandparents. Families are all very different, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with your family if it's different than your friend's family. But again, a family is just a group of people that are related to each other. Think about the people who are in your family. I know in my family, I have my mom and my dad and my two younger sisters. The next word that we're going to look at is a word we talk about a lot in school. We get you guys to practice asking for this when you need it, and that is the word help. Help means to give aid or to assist someone. Sometimes at school, you guys need help with a classroom activity. You might need help eating your lunch. You might need help getting in or out of equipment, and that's okay. I know I need help at school sometimes doing things, and I will ask your other teachers or your therapists to help me. Sometimes you guys help us at school by doing special jobs for us, um, doing extra work. You guys are able to be our special helpers during the day, and that is something that we work on asking for a lot. Not only asking for it, but giving it. So it's good to ask for help when you need it, but it's also good to help others when they need it. Another word that we're going to read about is wild animals, okay? Wild animals are animals that live in the wilderness. That means they don't live in a store, they don't live in people's homes. You're gonna see them out and about in the wilderness, outside. In this picture, we see a few animals. This one is a koala bear. We see a kangaroo, and I cannot remember what that is called, but to me it looks like a big rat, and I'm not a fan of rodents, so I would stay away from that one. I cannot think of its name. It's on the tip of my tongue. Maybe we'll read about it in the story. But we're going to be talking about animals that don't live in our homes. They're not pets. Like most people don't have koalas or kangaroos as pets. You would see them outside, in Australia especially. Our final vocab word that we're going to be talking about and hearing about a lot in the story is the word wildfire, okay? A wildfire is an uncontrolled fire that burns large areas of wilderness, okay? At school we have fire drills, they're just practice, but a wildfire is different. A wildfire is a fire that starts outside, usually where there's lots of trees, and it burns so quickly and it burns so much of an area that it's hard to put out, and it can ruin a large portion of the wilderness or forest, whatever area it's burning in. And it takes a lot of people, it takes a lot of rain or water to hopefully put it out. And this past school year, I believe it was this past school year, there was a big fire that was all over the news. There was a huge wildfire in Australia, huge. And I believe that's the wildfire we're going to be reading about in our article today. We don't typically see a lot of wildfires in New York, but we have had them in California, which is a state on the other side of the country. But there are some places where, because it's so hot and sometimes so dry, that fires can start quick and spread fast. All right. So, in our article today, we're going to hear about a family helping wild animals during a wildfire. All right. I'm going to get to our article. And our News-2-You article, the title is called Irwin Family Helps Animals. And here is just a little clip art picture of the Irwin family. A famous family helps many wild animals. Do you guys like animals? Do you have any pets at home? I bet you don't have a lot of wild animals at home. This family is the Irwin family from Australia. The Irwin family has a TV show. Have any of you guys ever watched the Irwin family's TV show or seen any of these guys on TV? The Irwin family owns a zoo called the Australia Zoo. Australia had big wildfires in 2019 and 2020. So in Australia, we talked about there was a big fire that burned down a lot of trees and plants and homes and was very hard to put out. It took several months for them to be able to really contain it. Wildfires burn quickly through the wilderness. So they don't move slow, they're really fast. It goes whew. The wildfires hurt many wild animals because these fires are burning down trees and plants and places that wild animals live, and they're also burning down these animals' sources of food. If all the trees and plants are burning and that's what animals eat, they're not going to have any food. So lots of animals lost their homes, they lost their sources of food, but also if they got caught in the fire, they got burned as well. They were hurt. Now, the Irwin family is a family that loves animals, okay? They wanted to help the animals. So the Irwin family brought animals from the wildfires that lived in the wilderness. They brought them to the Australia Zoo, okay? So these wildfires were burning up trees and the forests, and these animals were getting hurt and they didn't have places to live. So the Irwin family wanted to help them, so they brought them to their zoo called the Australia Zoo. The Australia Zoo is in Queensland, Australia. Okay? The zoo is in Australia, but it's located in Queensland. The Australia Zoo includes a hospital for wild animals. Doctors cared for the hurt animals at the zoo. I know sometimes when we get hurt or sick, we go to the doctor, or if you get very hurt or you're very sick, you may have to go to the hospital. We go to a hospital that's for people, but there are hospitals and doctors for animals. The animals that were brought to the hospitals included koalas, bilbies. I did not know that name of this animal. I thought it was a different one. So I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. I've never even heard of a bilby. All right. Koalas, bilbies, kangaroos, foxes, and platypuses. And I'm going to see if I can maybe zoom in a little on that. These are just some of the animals I think that were brought to the hospital that were caught in the wildfires. Okay. Now, some animals had burns from the wildfires. If any of you guys have ever touched something that was very hot, you may have gotten a burn. I think I have one on my hand from, I think, cooking last week. I have a little burn. Animals, if they are too close to something hot or if they get caught in a fire, they can get burned too. And if you guys have ever had something burn you before, you know that it hurts. So, doctors gave medicine to the animals. Doctors cared for the animals day and night. The Irwin family helped care for the animals too. Together, they have helped more than 90,000 animals. That is a huge number. 90,000 animals were helped by the Irwin family because they took care of them and they brought them to the doctor and the hospital and they got these animals the help they needed. Now, the Irwin family has helped animals for many years. A famous zookeeper was part of the Irwin family. Okay, famous is another word for celebrity, someone that's well known. And this zookeeper had a TV show. He was known for dealing with sometimes very dangerous animals, and he was known worldwide. Okay, that zookeeper was Steve Irwin. Okay, I bet if you ask your parents, or if your parents are watching with you, they know who Steve Irwin is. Steve helped animals his whole life. Sadly, Steve died in 2006. Okay, so Steve, he was the father in the family. He passed away in 2006, but he loved helping animals, and he did it for his entire life. Now, the Irwin family, his family, they continue to help animals. The Irwin family includes Steve's wife, Terry Irwin. Terry helps animals. Steve and Terry have 2 kids. And do you guys think his kids maybe help animals? Let's see. Their daughter, Bindi Irwin, is 21 years old. Their son, Robert Irwin, is 16 years old. So their kids are around your guys' age. Okay? And guess what? Their kids, they also help animals. They work with animals too. So everyone in the Irwin family, Steve, Terry, Bindi, and Robert, they all help animals, love them, and work with them. Well, the Irwin family, Terry, Bindi, and Robert, they started a TV show in 2018, so just a couple of years ago. This TV show is called Crikey. It's the Irwins. Crikey is an expression that they use in Australia. It might sound silly, but it is something that they use in Australia. The TV show is about the Irwin family. The TV show films the Irwin family caring for animals. So if you guys really like animals, seeing lots of different types of animals, this might be a good show for you guys to try to watch some episodes, okay? I know I found some on YouTube. I don't know if it's still on the air. If it is, it might be on Animal Planet. I could look it up for you guys. It films the Irwin family helping animals around the world. And I can click here once I finish the whole article and we can watch a clip, of the show. Now again, the Irwin family, they love animals. They care for animals at the Australia Zoo, which is is in Queensland, Australia. The Irwin family helped animals after the Australia wildfires. Um, the Irwin family has always helped animals, they've always taken care of animals, but after this big wildfire, a lot of animals were hurt and needed places to go, and the Irwin family stepped up and they took a lot of these animals who had no place to go and who were hurt and brought them to their zoo to help them. They cared for animals at the zoo as well, okay? At the zoo hospital, sorry. Would you like to care for animals? Um, who here likes animals where they would want to help take care of them if animals, and I'm not just talking dogs and cats, I'm talking about animals that we see in the wild that live outside. Would you guys want to help care for animals like that? It's just a question for you guys to think about. Do you guys like animals enough to want to help them? Some people would say, nope, not interested, I can't do it. And some people would say, I love animals, I definitely want to. So that's just something to think about, okay? I am going to put on that clip of the Bindi, not Bindi family, Irwin family TV show in a minute. We're just going to read a couple more article pages and then we will watch the show. We're going to read a quick article about people in the news and we're going to learn just a little bit more about the Irwin family. The Irwin family cares for animals at the Australia Zoo. Terry Irwin is from Eugene, Oregon. Okay? Oregon is a state in the United States. So she is American. But she met and married Steve Irwin in Australia because Steve is Australian or was Australian. So Terry and Steve, who are the mom and the dad, they met and got married and lived in Australia. They had a daughter named Bindi Irwin, and Bindi Irwin was married recently. She got married at the Australia Zoo. Okay, she got married in March of 2020, I believe. Now, her brother, Robert, who is 16, he is a wildlife photographer, okay? He takes lots of pictures of animals. And I know I follow Robert on Instagram, and he posts a lot of pictures of animals that he works with in the wild. And I think it's really cool to see all of the animals out there because we don't have kangaroos and koalas and lots of animals that they have out in Australia, and it's cool to see pictures of animals that I don't get to see every day. I bet if you were to go online and look up some of his pictures, you guys could see them too. So again, that's just a little blurb about the Irwin family. We are going to look at a place in the news, and we're going to read about the Australia Zoo, okay? And again, the Australia Zoo is a zoo that the Irwin family owns. The Australia Zoo is in Queensland, Australia. Australia is all the way on the other side of the globe. If you wanted to go there, you'd have to be on an airplane for a very long time. The Australia Zoo is 50 years old in 2020. Okay, so it's been up and operating for 50 years. It's older than you guys are. Steve Irwin's parents, they started the Australia Zoo in 1970. All right? Zoo visitors can learn about many animals at this zoo. They can also feed and pet the animals too. So if you guys are ever in Australia, you might want to check out the Australia Zoo and you can learn more about the animals, and if you wanted to pet them, touch them, feed them, you can do that. I know when we went to go pick apples, we were able to see a few farm animals and you guys were able to pet and feed them, which is similar to what you could do at the zoo in Australia, although their animals are probably a lot different than the ones we were seeing. The last article, which again is just a one page, it's another place in the news. It's more specifically about Queensland, Australia. Okay. The Australia Zoo, again, is located in Queensland, Australia. Queensland is an area in northeastern Australia. Okay. The Coral Sea is off of the coast of Queensland. The Great Barrier Reef is in the Coral Sea. And I know we've talked about the Great Barrier Reef in our classroom. Many people will snorkel and dive around the reef. It is a very beautiful area under the water where there's lots of fish and coral and plant life. We've talked about how it's important to take care of it. We don't want to hurt the Great Barrier Reef. It's our job to take care of it. But it's a very popular place where lots of people will travel to. So lots of people will go to Queensland so they can go check out the Great Barrier Reef, so they can snorkel, dive, and see all the plant life and fish and coral that is in there. So before I read the main article again, we are going to check out a quick clip of the show. Let's see if it works. And it is on Animal Planet.
I'm guessing it's going to be a girl. So, whoa, that was a lot of spit in my ear that you just put in my ear. Thank you. That was really nice for me. It was great. Thank you. I don't have to have a shower tonight now, so that's nice. We'll see how we go. I'm going to hold your chair while...
Oh, is that you or the wombat?
That's the wombat for sure.
Have a look at Jimmer over here now. You can see he's doing what he likes to do. This is yoga. The fur on his belly obviously is that lighter colour, but also it's a little bit longer and a bit finer, so a nice breeze can blow over that and help cool it down a little bit.
What you doing, Kira? No. Aiden! I mean, what they're really doing is looking for bugs. There could be termites in there, ants, little cockroaches, witchetty grubs. You got in? Yeah, of course you did. Looks like grass, but it's not.
Is he trying to eat it?
He's trying to eat it.
Oh no, poor little guy.
Well, getting chased by a tortoise is quite funny because they are quite easy to outrun, so you don't really have to worry about them catching up. He is on a mission today. Don't be naughty. Don't be naughty. And you can see that really big long tail that they have. It's obvious why they're called ring-tailed lemurs. Jarvis, what are you doing? I've got to get out of here. Jarvis is stalking. He's about to attack. Let's go.
Also, when you come in and do a guest encounter, he smiles at the camera. Good boy.
Okay, so that was just a little clip of Crikey, It's the Irwins, the Irwin family TV show. But just in that clip, you were able to see some of the members of the Irwin family. I know I saw Robert, the son, and Bindi, the daughter. I don't know if Terry was there. If I did, I just didn't recognize her. But you also were able to see lots of different animals that they take care of, that they help, and animals that we don't really see in our neck of the woods. All right, I'm going to reread our article again. Okay, which I think I have to go back on this page. Yep. Because we usually read the article twice at school. The Irwin family helps animals. A famous family helps many wild animals. This family is the Irwin family from Australia. The Irwin family has a TV show. The Irwin family owns a zoo called the Australia Zoo. Australia had big wildfires in 2019 End 2020. Wildfires burn quickly through the wilderness. The wildfires hurt many wild animals. The Irwin family, they wanted to help the animals. The Irwin family brought animals to the Australia Zoo. The Australia Zoo is in Queensland, Australia. The Australia Zoo includes a hospital for wild animals. Doctors cared for the hurt animals at the hospital. The animals included koalas, bilbies, kangaroos, foxes, and platypuses. Some animals had burns from the wildfires. Doctors gave medicine to the animals. Because remember, sometimes when we're hurt, we need to take medicine. The same goes for animals. Sometimes if animals are hurt, they have to take medicine. Doctors cared for the animals day and night. The Irwin family helped care for the animals too. Together, they have helped more than 90,000 animals. The Irwin family has helped animals for many years. A famous zookeeper was part of the Irwin family. That zookeeper was Steve Irwin. Steve helped animals his whole life. Steve died in 2006. However, the Irwin family continues to help animals. The Irwin family includes Steve's wife, Terry Irwin. Steve and Terry have 2 kids. Their daughter, Bindi Irwin, is 21 years old. Their son, Robert Irwin, is 16 years old. The Irwin family started a TV show in 2018. This TV show is called Crikey, It's the Irwins, and we just watched a clip of it. The TV show is about the Irwin family. The TV show films the Irwin family caring for animals. It films the Irwin family helping animals around the world. The Irwin family loves animals. They care for animals at the Australia Zoo. The Irwin family helped animals after the Australia wildfires. They cared for animals at the zoo hospital. Would you like to care for animals? Okay, that's a question for you guys to think about. And if you want to share your answers, you guys can always comment or email me. And if you do want to care for animals, what kind would you really want to care for? Question to think about. I'm just going to go over our questions, our review page with you guys. Of course, I'm going to put it on our Google Classroom where you can do them independently. So in this video, I'm just going to read them to you and go over our choices. But again, I will post our recipe if you would like to make it at home this week or another week. This one is called a zoo snack mix, which looks pretty yummy. It's got cereal in it, animal crackers, goldfish, pretzels, seeds, raisins. So it's kind of like a trail mix or a party mix. Of course, you know at school, sometimes there's certain foods that we don't eat. Like we don't do seeds at school because they can be a choking hazard. Even raisins we might not do because they're very chewy. So it's really up to your parents what you guys want to put in your zoo snack mix. We sometimes at school will substitute, meaning we will take out an ingredient and put another ingredient in its place. So feel free to take the zoo snack mix recipe and substitute and change it up a little if you would like, or follow the original recipe. Of course, I'm going to post all of these pages that we do at school, but let's look at our review page. The first question is always our what question. And the first question says, what is this paper about? So what did we just read about? Did we read about sharing happiness? Did we read about Greta Thunberg and the Earth? Or did we read about the Irwin family helping animals? Again, you guys can do this whenever you want using your own worksheet on the Google Classroom. Question 2 is our who question. Who helps many wild animals? So who did we talk about in the article? Was it the Irwin family? Was it about Susan B. Anthony? Or Martin Luther King Jr.? All right, question 3, where? Where did the Irwin family bring animals? So when they were helping the animals, where did they bring them? Did they bring them to the International Spy Museum, the NASCAR Hall of Fame, or the Australia Zoo? And another where question that we're going to do, there's actually 3 in a row. Where is the Irwin family from? So we said this family is from a specific country. Most of them are from this country, but they all live there now. Did we say they're from Iceland, Australia, or Taiwan? Question 5 is where, another where question. Where did doctors care for animals? So when the animals were hurt and sick, where did they go? Did they go to school? Did they go to the hospital? Or did they go to a museum? And last but not least, what are koalas and kangaroos? We talked about a specific group of animals, a type of animal. Koalas and kangaroos, are these wild animals, farm animals, or sea animals? Okay. Again, would we see koalas and kangaroos out in the wild? Would we see them on a farm? Or would we see them in the sea, in the ocean? I'm not going to give you guys the answers because you guys are able to do these independently. So I will have those questions up for you in the Google Classroom. Before I end the video, I'm also going to post the Think page. And if you guys want to answer a few of the questions, I will have this edited so you can answer them. But on the Think page, there's 3 questions that you can answer. The first question says, what is your favorite animal and why? Okay, it doesn't have to be an animal that's in your home. It could be any animal found on the planet that you can think of. My animal, if I had to pick one, would be very simple. It would be a dog. I love dogs. I think they're cute. They're fun to play with. They're very loving. Those are 3 reasons why I love dogs. My family has a dog that I love and miss so much. His name is Gus. He's a little Cavachon. He's adorable, but I do love dogs. I am curious, though, what your guys' favorite animals are. Question 2, we talk about this a lot at school. We talk about our families a lot. But question 2 is, who is in your family? If you want to answer this question, you can just list, and this is a good way to practice your communication at home. Write down who is in your family. Again, in my family, my immediate family, my mom, Donna, Mrs. Sullivan, my dad, Bob, Mr. Sullivan, my sister, Sean, and my sister, Maggie. Oh, and Gus, our dog. Sorry, I forgot about him. Question 3, would you like to go to a zoo and why? Okay, some of you guys may have already been to a zoo. Some of you guys maybe have not been to a zoo. That's okay. Even if you've gone before, would you want to go back to a zoo? There's, I think, a local zoo up here that's a smaller one, but there is a really I guess, well-known zoo in the United States called the Bronx Zoo, which is in New York. It's downstate. My family's gone there because I grew up downstate. I like going to the zoo because I like getting to see different animals. I don't get to go as often as maybe I would like to go, but I think it's cool to be able to see animals that I don't normally get to see. All right. So just you could do a simple yes or no. Um, would you like to go to a zoo? All right. So those are going to be our three think questions. Before I end our video, I am going to play a little brain pop video about wildfires because we did talk about the Irwin family helping a lot of animals in Australia when there was a giant wildfire out there. So we are going to just learn a little bit more about these fires, how they start. Okay.
Moby, check it out. My new marshmallow technique is unstoppable. Why? We're allowed to have a fire for cooking. The fire danger level is green. You know you're not an actual ranger, right? Dear Tim and Moby, I live in California and we're not allowed to build campfires. Can you explain why? From Kate. Good question, Kate. I'm guessing your fire danger level is not green. Blue and green mean there's not much chance a campfire will get out of control. But as it moves closer to red, the slightest spark can trigger a wildfire. That's any fire that gets loose and spreads in nature. Depending on what's burning, they might be called forest fires, brush fires, prairie fires, or something else. They can burn at more than 2,000 degrees and eat up huge areas of land in a matter of days. Flying embers make them spread even faster. Every year, wildfires consume millions of acres. They destroy homes and businesses and put millions of people in danger. To see how they catch and spread, we need to get into some chemistry. Fire is the visible energy thrown off by combustion. That's a chemical reaction between oxygen and a source of fuel. The fuel can be paper, dead leaves, plastic, trees, anything that burns. And the oxygen comes from the air all around us. No, lucky for us, oxygen doesn't combine with fuel on its own. The reaction needs a third ingredient to get going: heat. If enough heat is added to the fuel, combustion will begin. The energy it throws off will heat up nearby fuel, causing it to combust. This chain reaction is why fire spreads on its own. And the drier the fuel, the more easily it burns. That's why more wildfires happen in dry climates, like out west and in Australia. During the hot summer months, these areas have all the ingredients for combustion. Sometimes the sun itself provides enough heat to get the fire going, but it can also come from lightning or lava. Like droughts and floods, these kinds of wildfires are part of the Earth's natural cycles. In fact, many ecosystems depend on them. Mature forests and grasslands can be too crowded for new plants to thrive. Wildfires consume old and dead material. They also clear away competitive species. When they've passed, new growth begins to take hold. Animals return to their habitats, and the ecosystem rebounds, stronger than before. Unfortunately, humans cause way more wildfires than the environment can handle. Loose cigarettes and unattended campfires are major culprits. So are downed power lines and even sparks from machinery. People do need to be a lot more careful, but it goes way beyond thoughtless mistakes. Too much fire suppression can also create dangerous conditions. In areas near cities, naturally occurring fires are put out before they can spread. Over time, a huge amount of fuel builds up. So when the fire does eventually happen, it's a whole lot worse. Climate change isn't helping the situation either. People add billions of tons of carbon to the atmosphere each year. Carbon traps heat, so average temperatures around the world are rising. That means more droughts, extended periods of dry weather. which means more heat and dry fuel, two of the three ingredients needed for combustion. To fight fires, you have to remove one of those ingredients. Firefighters remove fuel by constructing a fire line. They dig a wide trench in front of where the fire is moving. It can't cross the trench if there's nothing to burn. It's not just a ground offensive. Water dropped from the air removes oxygen and heat. Chemicals that make the fire burn cooler can be mixed into the water. Big wildfires can take weeks to get under control. Once the flames are gone, the whole area is often cold-trailed. Firefighters feel the ground with their bare hands, checking for heat. When the coast is clear, people who live nearby can return to their homes. Right, if you live in an area prone to wildfires, be sure your family has an emergency plan. Stock a kit with a flashlight, batteries, cash, and first aid supplies. If there's a wildfire nearby, stay tuned for weather updates and emergency instructions. And if you ever see a fire burning, call 911. I mean, if it's out of control. Are you gonna hang up? Fine, do what you want.
911, what's your emergency?
We're fine. Everything's fine.
Okay, that was kind of a silly ending to the movie. But again, wildfires typically start in areas where it's very dry and very hot. Luckily for us, we don't live in an area where it's very dry and hot most of the time. We don't often hear about wildfires, so we're usually safe from those. But again, wildfires, like the video said, start a lot because of people. So it's really important for us to be careful when we are using any sort of fire or when we're outside. If any of you guys go camping and you guys do campfires to make s'mores, it's our responsibility to make sure that the fire is out. Even if you guys have fire pits at home, I'm sure your families are very good about making sure that the fire is completely out, because even the littlest spark could start a little fire, and we all know that fires are dangerous, which is why at school we practice our fire drills, because we don't want to be in a situation where there is a fire and we are stuck and we don't know what to do. But that is very different from what a wildfire is. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, I will post worksheets. I will post the article if you want to look at it again up on the classroom website. I'm going to also be posting the extension article that goes along with the news article on Friday. I have a feeling we might be learning about some of the animals that the Irwin family works with, but we'll have to wait till Friday to see if I'm correct on that. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!